Hey, welcome into the Stinkin Truth podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside my partner, Mike Evans. Week 2 in the books. A great week 2, Mike. And I'm a good loser, but I am a dick when it comes to winning.
You are.
Our moneymaker picks right now. Like, if you're not following us right now on the Stinkin Truth podcast, you're a moron. I am 5-0-1. Against the spread so far in our moneymaker pick section. You, my friend, are 1-5. 1-5.
Listen, I'm seeing this. This is going to play out like 28-3.
Right.
Patriots and Falcons.
Oh,
in the Super Bowl.
Okay. That's the way we're going right now.
Just go ahead. Enjoy yourself. Build a big lead. Get that false sense of security, and then I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull off a comeback for the ages that people are going to be talking about forever.
Okay. Well, you've dug yourself a hole so far. You might as well just keep digging for a while.
That's fine.
Yeah. And then work yourself out.
I'm going to be the Julian Edelman of picks. I'm going to be like the Jules of comeback. Making the picks.
Why is Jules?
Because Jules was part of 28-3.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got what you're saying. He did not have he had a great catch in that game too, right?
The fingertip catch.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
You watch. So you just keep bragging. Keep bragging.
We'll see what happens.
You keep bragging,
We'll see what happens. Okay, great.
Lull you into a false sense of security.
I love it.
Hey, we're only 2 weeks in. These running back injuries. Man, what happened to Nick Chubb?
Right.
You can find the highlight of the injury.
I hate watching that stuff. I hate watching it. Yeah.
I know, but it's bad, and the expectation is he's done for the season.
Yeah,
another running back goes down.
Yeah, just by the looks of it. And I would just say this: where is the running back Zoom meeting now? Where are the Pied Pipers of the running? Who was the kid from the Chargers that?
Austin Eckler.
Yeah, Eckler. Yeah. Where are they? Where are they storming the castle right now? I mean, this is why. Is it fair? No, it's not fair. It's like right now, you just look at week 2. Dave Montgomery, bruised thigh, is going to be out for 2 or 3 weeks, right, from the Lions. Really having a great season so far. You've got Saquon Barkley, twisted his ankle in a game I did against the Arizona Cardinals. Boom, done. 2 or 3 weeks down. Now you got Chubb, who looks like he's done for the year. It would be miraculous if he wasn't.
J.K. Dobbins.
Like, it just is one of those situations. This is why you guys don't get paid. And everybody can get hurt. I understand it. Like, everybody can be hurt, and it's not, it's not discriminatory against just running backs. Every guy can get hurt. But the odds of you getting hurt at that position with the number of people who are trying to, well, for lack of a better term, murder you every time you touch the football. And I've told you the story before when I picked up a fumble and thought I could run with it as a rookie. The ball attracts a ton of attention, and people are trying to, they're just trying to end you. And so, man, it's unfortunate. And Nick Chubb, I love watching Nick Chubb. I love watching him run the football. I love the physicality with which he runs. I love the fact that when you're a DB and he's coming downhill on you, you're like, oh, Lord, here we go, right? He makes you not want to tackle anymore. But it's tragic. It's devastating for the Cleveland Browns and their offense because, he is the actuator of that offense. He is what makes that offense go. And for them, I've got to believe just all the wind came out of your sails.
I know there's a lot of sympathy for the running backs out there and the fact that they can't get paid, but I guess the simple question I'd ask you and I'd ask everybody watching, you're in charge of an NFL team. How much would you pay for running backs? Would you trust running backs right now? Would you trust running backs enough to turn around and pay them?
Listen, I understand their plight. I'm sorry that that's the way it goes. That's the position you chose to play. You're great at it. I get it. You're going to be paid handsomely, but you're just not going to get the long-term deals that other positions get. Sorry about it. But I got to be honest. As much as I am on the player's side, as much as I love the players, as much as that player never comes out of you, even when you're on this side of the mic, it never comes out of you. You're always thinking about the players. If I was a general manager, if I was running an organization, I wouldn't pay a running back either. I'd draft those guys, get them when they're rookies, use them up, and spit them out. Rawhide. What else can you do,
They're cattle.
Mike?
They just are.
It's just the way the position is.
Is it? But was it always like that? And you played during a time where there were running backs were household names.
Right.
They were the stars. You know. Were these guys getting hurt back then too, or is this a new thing?
I think that it's partially a new thing, and I don't know. I have theories on why guys and why there are so many injuries. You watch organizations; they have man hours down or whatever, number of starts missed, and it's incredible. And part of that is agents don't want their guys to play when they're dinged up. Like that's part of it, and I understand that. That's part of it. It was always a badge of honor when I came up. You played hurt and you played injured, and you better play well hurt and injured. But there was a different mentality. The agents weren't controlling what we as players were doing. My agent told me, "Hey, you might want to take a couple weeks off." I tell him to up yours. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what I do. I play football. And so there's a bit of that transition, that has happened, and I understand why, and I understand nobody understands better the short-term nature of this game than I understand it. But it was just a different mentality, and I'm not saying it was a better mentality. It was just different. That's all. And then I think the other thing, Mike, is I think now that there is so much less football in preparing to play football. Like I just think there's less, for a lack of a better term, you're less calloused, you're less, there's certain kinesthetic awareness and certain, a certain feel when you're practicing and you're working on that, and you're leaning on one another, and you're getting used to that kind of back and forth, and you train the entirety of the off season without ever touching each other. And then all of a sudden you start touching each other, and it's just it's a skill set and almost a muscle memory set and almost a intricate muscle groupings that I just don't think you develop. Like, the craziest thing that happened to me a few years ago, I've had this incredible back problems for a long time. And I had some injections in my back, and my back started feeling better. And so I decided to go to the gym. This is about 3 years ago. I said, that's it. I'm going to start doing squats. And I literally couldn't play a day of golf without being crippled for 4 days. I'd wake up 8 times a night. I'd do all these different things. And, I feel like I have to put a disclaimer in here. Don't start doing squats until you've talked to your doctor. And if you're that person that needs that because you're going to sue me, you're a piece of shit. But anyhow, long story short, I started implementing squats into my routine. And at first, I kid you not, I just had the bar on my back in the gym, from the waist up. I'm fairly put together. From the waist down, I've got the legs of a 180-pound man. So, so I go, this is what I'm going to do. So I start squatting, and I just did the bar. That's all I did. And, I did sets, however many sets I did, 6 sets of just a bar. And I was literally for 4 days, I was like, oh, my back. But I wasn't going to give up. So eventually, I had 25s on. And then I had 45s on, and then it was 185, and then it was 225, and now, I go up to 275. I'm doing sets of 20 with 275, and my back has never felt better. My back feels better right now at 57 than it did when I retired at 36. Way better. I mean,
because you just kept doing it.
I kept doing it,
over.
And the point of the story is you build up muscles, these intricate stabilization muscles that take the pressure off the joints and off the discs and all that stuff, and it can only be done by doing it. Mm-hmm. It can only be, and so football is like that. If you're not working on that skill set and you're not adjusting to me pushing on you and vice versa, you don't develop that. And all of a sudden you get put in a compromising position. Your body hasn't created those stabilization mechanisms, that you haven't created those proprioception skills or the kinesthetic awareness to overcome those things. And I think that's one of the big reasons that there are so many more injuries today than the perception for me is there's so many more today, like devastating season-ending injuries, than there were back when I was playing.
It seems like it.
And we were hitting each other and doing all kinds of, we're doing so much more.
Yeah.
From just an overall physicality standpoint.
So with Chubb out, more responsibility falls on the shoulders of Deshaun Watson, which you would think he'd be up for, $230 million guaranteed contract and everything that the Browns gave up. But with him back, had a full off season, full training camp. Were you expecting more from Deshaun Watson to this point? Has he been a disappointment to you?
I would have to think right now, if you're in Cleveland, whether you're just a fan in Cleveland or whether you're part of the organization or whatever the case may be, don't you have to feel like there's some buyer's remorse? I mean, I would have to. I would have to think that I understand last year, struggling once you came back from the suspension and all the issues that you had, and you came back and, there's a lot of rust you have to kick off. And I understand where you could look at that and go, okay, like, I get it. But right now, I mean, he wasn't, even in a blowout against Cincinnati in week 1, he wasn't great by any stretch in week 1. And he was bad again last night. So, yeah, I expected more. Like, I thought in week 1, the one thing he did really well was off schedule, moving around, and he's much more athletic than I even remember him being. But moving around and being able to escape the pocket and making some throws, I thought he was pretty good at that stuff. But I'm here to tell you, man, it has not looked right. It has not looked good.
So his last year in Houston, 2020, he threw for 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 picks. Brilliant season. Brilliant season. I mean, and when it became clear he wanted out, man, I remember the conversations around different cities like this one here in Denver. People are like,
give up 5 first-rounders for him.
6, 7 first-rounders, whatever it takes for this guy.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is we actually got a bargain for Russell Wilson.
Yes, exactly. Russell Wilson's a bargain, yes. Because you only gave up whatever you gave up, which was mind-boggling still. Yeah. But is it just he missed too much time and he just can't get back to that form? Or would your message to Browns fans be, hey, be patient, it'll come?
Well, I think the only message you can give Browns fans is be patient, it will come. And then,
well, no, you could tell them it ain't happening.
Right. No, I'm
You would
just
be
saying,
afraid to do it.
I'm just saying if I was in the organization, be patient, good things on their way. But now all of a sudden you take away kind of the number one security blanket and the number one weapon they have in Nick Chubb. It doesn't get any easier. I'll guarantee you that. So yeah, I'm concerned about the way he has played so far. Now it's still very early. And back to the injury stuff we just talked about, you don't really play in the preseason. You need reps. You need to go. You need to play. You need to feel it. So he's proven that in the past he can do it. So it's in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I would have to just, even me right now, I'd have to preach patience. Like, he's going to be okay. Eventually, it will get there. And this is a different offense than the offense that he operated under Bill O'Brien in Houston and all that kind of stuff. So I have to think.
But if I'm a Cleveland fan, I'm starting to feel that little bit of fingers of panic on the back of my neck. Like, okay, is this going to get better? Meanwhile, it's Patrick Mahomes' world we're just living in, right? So Patrick Mahomes reworks his contract. He's going to get more guaranteed money over a 4-year span than anybody in the history of the league. Isn't it funny when he signed his contract, $500 million, and people are like, the Chiefs got screwed, and then you found out how team friendly it was. Oh, Mahomes got screwed. It ends up working out for everybody, doesn't it?
There were a lot of pearl clutchers that were like, no, the Chiefs will never be able to re-sign anybody, and it's all going to go by the wayside, and why?
But then it became like, Mahomes is getting taken advantage of.
Right. Yeah,
look at all the QBs making more money than him.
Yeah, it wasn't even that he was taking advantage of. It was, look how altruistic Patrick Mahomes is. He has taken less money to make sure that they can sign players so he can win multiple championships. Same thing they said about Brady, remember? Exact same thing. Here's my major takeaway from all this. It is not a hard cap, people. It's a very soft, manipulative cap. That's what it is. And so when they tell your favorite player that, hey, man, we're up against the cap, we just can't manipulate the cap. We want you, but, man, we just can't make the numbers work out. What they're really telling your favorite your favorite player is to pound sand. We ain't going to pay you. We don't want to pay you. We don't actually like you that much. You know what? They're actually telling the player you're a booty call and you're not worth putting a ring on. That's what they're telling you. And if they want you and you're part of the future plan, you know what they do? They figure out a way to rework your contract so that you actually, they just guaranteed him, what did you say, $210 million
yeah.
over 4 years? And they significantly lowered their cap by giving more, here's more money, and our cap goes down. That thing is, you can fund it any way you want to. Fungible, I think, is the word that I'm looking for.
Way to go, Mark. Yeah.
So, that's that Idaho education. But they can do whatever they want. So if they decide they don't want to pay you, they claim and they scream cap poverty. But if they want you, they will find a way to make those numbers work. That's all you need to know about the cap. Good for Patrick Mahomes, because that dude is the unicorn. He is that good. And oh, by the way, speaking of Kansas City, don't look now, but they held a very high-powered Detroit offense to 14 points. Remember, one score, they lost 21-20. One score was a pick six, okay, off the hands of a perfectly thrown ball in Kadarius Toney. So they only gave up 14 points. Last week, they limited the Jacksonville Jaguars, who went to the playoffs and won that exciting game, to 9 points, 3 field goals for the Jags. And remember, they did that week one without their best defensive player in Chris Jones. Now, Chris Jones played last week, but don't look now. When this offense gets healthy and Kelsey gets healthy and they figure out their new tackles and they figure out kind of who's my go-to receivers and they start putting all that stuff together.
Oh, so is this the breaking news you're sharing with everybody, that the Chiefs might be pretty good?
Well, the breaking news is this Chiefs defense is a lot better than anybody gives them credit for. They are and they've always been the weak link.
Yeah, supposed
weak link, but all of a sudden, this Chiefs defense looks like it's pretty formidable.
The Jets have a pretty formidable defense. Not that it matters when you don't have good quarterback play. What do you do about Zach Wilson?
First off, there are so many ridiculous theories out there. And I understand making a phone call to Brady, right? Hey, Tom, what do you think? We want to come out over time? I get that. I'd make that phone call too. Matter of fact, I would just call Tom just to hear just to hear the dulcet tones of his voice. I would just, Tom, yes.
Have you watched The Cheek yet?
Yeah, no. The cheek. Oh, yeah.
Want to tell people what happened to The Cheek?
Well, last game of the regular season last year, I had Tampa Bay. In Tom's last regular season game, I called it. And I saw him in the hallway. I was walking out of the camera meeting. He's walking into the facility. I go, hey, Tom. And he's and we get a big hug. And we went straight cheek to cheek. And it was glorious. My cheek against his cheek. And I was melting in his arms. And I thought.
Did you hear angels singing?
No, but I did find
harps playing.
No, I did find the cure for erectile dysfunction because, whoa, I was full attention. And so anyhow, that's what happened to me. But I would make that call too. But then, I get this ridiculousness of, Colin Kaepernick. Come on, 7 years he's been out and he couldn't play when he was playing. He was horrible when he was playing, and all the. And I don't.
He wasn't horrible. He went
horrible.
to a Super Bowl.
No, but that was early in his career. He was horrible. He was bad when he was the last couple of times he played. He was awful. Just awful. And then, we're like, Colin Kaepernick. I don't think he wants to play anyhow. And then you're getting what about, Matt Ryan? Get him out of the studio. What, did you watch last season? Dude, he looked awful. You're going to make that phone call? There's so many of these ridiculous.
Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, just ridiculous theories out there about who we should go get if you're the Jets. I've heard I heard somebody say, let's just trade for Jacoby Brissett. Oh, so he's Washington's backup, and they've got a fifth-round, second-year guy that's only played 3 games in his entire career, and Jacoby's a great teammate and really helped mentor the guy. What, you're just going to give him away? You're just going to give him away, your security blanket. I mean, so I get it that you're desperate, but man, oh man, Zach Wilson. How bad does Zach Wilson look? Dude,
And you don't see it getting better?
Well, I mean, how many opportunities do you get before you get better? I mean, the guy played all last year. He looked awful. And he looked awful in that Buffalo game. And somehow, if it's not for Garrett Wilson making maybe the catch of the year, they lose that game. Even though they picked off Josh Allen 3 times and he had a butt fumble. It's total Sanchez on him. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't. It's just it's bad. So I don't know. What do you do?
Do you take one of these 0-2 teams and do you start to maybe have conversations with them that, hey, look, if your season continues to spiral, let's talk trade for your quarterback?
Oh, I see what you're doing. We live in Denver. You're trying to get Russ out of here. You're trying to hey, what do you guys think about a Peaches and Herb reunited with Russ and Nathaniel Hackett?
Sure, hey, listen, I'm sure Hackett and Russ would do just fine year 2.
By the way, I don't mean to interrupt or hijack the show, but did you see all this Jay Norville, a head coach of the CSU Rams, who went full sunglass mode on Deion Sanders?
Yeah,
and now there's
background.
Death threats.
Yeah. So Henry Blackburn is the safety who came over during the game and walloped Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
the Heisman. One of the Heisman hopefuls.
Yeah.
And now Hunter's out with a lacerated liver for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
And Blackburn's just been getting destroyed.
Right.
And so much so that CSU came out and said he's been receiving death threats and that his phone number and his mom's phone number and his address and his mom's phone address have all been thrown out there to the public. So what? I see your gears working over there. What?
His mom's phone number?
His mom's phone number got out there too, yeah.
You think Zach Wilson called her?
Why would Zach Wilson call Henry Blackburn's mother, and what would that conversation sound like?
Hello, Mrs. Blackburn. Zach Wilson. Bandana boy. I'm like the Daniel LaRussa of the NFL. How you doing?
Yeah. Hey, my first advice to Zach Wilson, lose the headband, dude.
Oh, dude. One.
It's just.
What are you, Rob Johnson? Yeah. Hey, and he couldn't play either. Let's no offense to Rob. I just offended Rob Johnson. I don't even know the guy. I don't even know the guy
whatsoever.
Well, he wore that.
People are going to start calling Rob Johnson, hey man, and he's going to be like, "What I do?"
Right.
Why am I trending?
Well, you wore a stupid ass headband and you look like a toolbox. Zach Wilson looks like a toolbox. Take off the freaking Dana. Yeah. First off, if you're going to do something like that, it's like Deion. All right? Deion has earned the right because everything he touches turns to gold, and Deion has just got natural swag.
Right.
Right?
Right.
If you come out in a headband and you alert yourself or you put yourself out there, you damn well better play good. Reminds me of a story.
Story time with Stink, everybody.
Yes. It reminds me.
Gather round.
Yeah, it reminds
right here
me
at the base of the table.
It reminds me of a story.
Round.
So, when I was playing with the Broncos, I had a shoe contract, and most people do. And within that shoe contract, you could order out of a catalog, and they give you a certain stipend of money out of your shoe contract, where you can get sweats and other shoes and things for family members and all this stuff. And so I've got this deal, and it was the first year my son Daniel could wear the metal spikes. And you, Brady, your son, that's a big deal. Because the kids like to hear the metal spikes go click, 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 click in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Click, click, click. That's really the only reason they like
cool.
it. Right. It's so cool because now it's like being a big leaguer.
Yeah.
So we had this baseball team. They were called the Silver Falcons. And they were old Air Force kind of uniforms, right? They had silver and blue piping, and they were kind of royal blue. And in the magazine, there was this royal blue pair of spikes, and they were really cool. And my son was like, "Dad, can I get these?" And I go, "Hey, well, listen, you're going to be the only kid in this league that has shoes that match your uniform. Everybody's going to be the black ones or whatever, right?" And I go, "So here's the deal. I'll get you these shoes, but you're going to have to commit to really being focused, right?" You really got to be focused. And, of course, Dad, yeah, no problem. And, Daniel was by far the best player, right? So I'm like putting these parameters around this. If you're going to single yourself out, you got to play like a superstar. I think that's fair. So sure enough, he's cruising. We're having a great year, and he's been dominating on the mound, and he's in the outfield. And I can see him not paying attention, right? He's just like looking for 4-leaf clovers, and I warned him a couple times early in the early innings. And sure enough, I'm not paying attention to him because we got something going on. And, we got a couple guys on base, whatever. And this dude knocks one in the outfield, and he's not paying attention. So he can't pick up the ball. He doesn't know where it's at, right? And then all of a sudden, it's over his head, right? So you can run back there, get it, and throw it in. And I am fuming. I am fuming. So anyhow, we get done with the game, and he's in his mom's car. And I just, on the window of his mom's car.
I can see this.
Because I had just cleaned up the dugout, and he's in there like, right? And I go, get in my truck. No, Mom, save me, Mom.
How old is he again?
Like 12.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So he gets in the truck, and I was just like, man, no, it's not satisfactory, right? I mean, I don't care if you strike out. I don't care if you don't make a play, but you're not going to not make plays because you're not paying attention. Right. I have a standard, right?
Right.
And so I go, here's your punishment. Next game, you can't wear your cleats. You got to go back to your molded bottom, black, old ones.
Egad.
Right. They're too small. They're like
child abuse.
Right. So I make him wear these. I make him wear these crappy cleats.
Uh-huh.
And for him, it's child abuse.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing. It's the whole thing, right? Yeah. The whole thing. So I'm trying to send a message that it's important, and you owe it to your teammates to pay attention and play hard. Right, that's kind of the theme, and so there's going to be a punishment, like a ground. I grounded him from his shoes. All right, so fast forward, we're in the preseason. This is in August, and we're playing the Buffalo Bills, and there's a deal that we used to play. It was punishment. When I played, there was punishment for not performing well. So we go out as a starting offense and a starting defense, and we put it on the Buffalo Bills. I think we score, on our first 2 drives, we score touchdowns. So now we're out of the game. And the deal was, under Mike Shanahan, is if you won, you got Mondays off. But if you lost, you had to come in and watch the film together as a group, and you had to lift and run. If you won, you could come in and lift and run on your own. Well, it's preseason, but the rule is still in place. So anyhow, all the backup guys give up the lead we created, and now all of a sudden we've got to come in on Monday and listen to the coach yell at you and scream at you and do all that kind of stuff, right? So the game is over. I'm pissed. We get in the car, and the kids are in the back, and my wife and I'm driving, and I'm just like disgusted, right, with the game. And so
it's a preseason game.
Okay. Right. So I'm just completely disgusted that we lost. I'm completely disgusted, more importantly, not that we lost, as much as I have to come in tomorrow now and have to listen to Coach Alex Gibbs goes, "What are you doing here? 69. And like, you got to listen, then you got to watch a bunch of players that aren't making the team, make mistakes, and you're like, that guy's not even going to be here, and I'm being held responsible. Right? So, anyhow, I'm driving, and we're on I-25, and it's a ton of traffic, and I'm grumpy, right? I'm grumpy going home. And all of a sudden, my son, from the back of the truck, it's been just rolling through his mind the whole time. And he said, "Dad, now, yes." He goes, "I'm going to need your shoes."
You laughed, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's absolutely. This thing has been bothering him since June that I took his shoes. He can't wait to get me back. Can't wait. 12 years old, I'm going to need your shoes. A little smart ass. Yeah, right? No, sorry. I kind of hijacked the show.
That's all right.
That's a good story.
Yeah, that's a good story. One thing you'll notice about this podcast, Storytime with Stink is the best.
Oh, my gosh.
A million of them. We'll get to the Arnold Schwarzenegger stories and all of them over the course of the football season. But I'm going to give you a little homework assignment for the next podcast, okay?
Yeah.
Before we get into the games for next week, or this weekend. Which 0-2 teams are you ready to bury?
Ooh.
And which 0-2 teams do you still believe in?
Yes.
And which 2-0 team is legit and what 2-0 teams are frauds.
Ooh, okay.
Okay?
All right. I like
thinking
that.
about that.
I like that.
Little homework assignment for you.
All
And
right.
you can play along at home.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. All right, well, we can do that, and don't forget we'll be back with you guys later on the week. We'll do that. We'll go to the 2-0 teams and the 0-2 teams and all those kind of things. We'll break down the best games on the docket, so that'll be great. The best games on the docket. We'll give you some information on all those games, and again, we'll do our moneymaker picks. Where I hate to keep bringing this up, but I'm 5-0-1 in my moneymaker picks. And you are 1-5. You are taking a Shawshank Redemption, sisters beating.
Nah. This is just setting it
You
all
are
up.
Andy Dufresne.
Setting it up for the comeback that people will be talking about for decades.
Andy Dufresne, it's terrible. What's going on to you right now is just okay. We'll see. Hey, for everybody involved in the Stinkin Truth podcast, we appreciate you guys, and we will be back with you later on in the week.